Today, we are looking for spiritual themes in the 1980s movie A Christmas Story. I am Nathan, the theology nerd.
And I am Drew, and I love digging into worthless information.
And I'm Doug, and I have COVID.
That is actually unfortunately
Yes.
true. But you're doing okay, right?
I feel nothing. Yeah, I'm good. I mean, I feel nothing as in no symptoms or anything like that. So, all good.
The opening scene, Ralphie sees this Red Ryder BB gun in a store window, and he's been dreaming about this, and he even sees this, cardboard cutout of Red Ryder himself.
Red Ryder.
Yeah. And I laughed right at that moment because I was like, now you know that's a cardboard cutout, right? That's not really Red Ryder. I mean, maybe that's just how kids think. Like, you see a stuffed animal or a cardboard cutout of a Ninja Turtle would have been what I would be like, oh, look, it's Ninja Turtle.
Donatello himself.
Yeah, he's real. I did ask a Magic 8 Ball if Ninja Turtles were real as a kid, and it said yes, so I totally believe it.
I totally believe it.
Yeah, I'm sure they're around there somewhere. You seen the size of the rats in New York?
Yeah.
Yeah, Splinter's hanging around there somewhere.
Were BB guns like all the rage in the 80s? Is that like a common thing, or?
It was in Westville. In my hometown, yeah, everyone had BB guns, and I got one probably, when I was probably around 9 or 10. You know, they got me this little target that was probably about this big that had like a cloth in the back of it that was supposed to catch the BBs and all this stuff, and I went and set that up right in front of my shed. First shot, I hit the shed, and it came back and hit me in the shoulder. So right off the bat,
you experienced
the bat,
yeah.
The you'll shoot your eye out. That's real, man. Because I mean, it came back and it caught me and it surprised me. It didn't hurt that much, but I immediately spun that around and was like, okay, I'm not putting a metal shed behind my little target.
Well, it's funny you say that because my neighbor, he had a BB gun and my brother went over there and my neighbor like ricocheted a BB off of the pavement of his driveway and like either hit himself or another kid. So here we've got two ricochet stories. So this must have been like a common thing.
I didn't have a BB gun. I had laser tag. That's what I had. I didn't get the BB gun. I did have one of those those cork guns. You put the cork in the string and you can shoot it and go out about that far and swing back. I had one of those.
You had to find what you could to play with in the 80s. I mean,
a stick.
A lot of kids nowadays will, and thank God you don't have to understand. Yeah, I mean, we had to find entertainment wherever you could with whatever you could. And I know in my my age group, my hometown, everyone was into BB guns. And to this day, why I don't own a bunch of Star Wars figures still, because I grew up young kid collecting Star Wars toys. As soon as I got a BB gun, I needed something to shoot. And
Star Wars toys.
Yep.
Oh no, those are worth a lot of money now.
No, because I'm still buying them.
Well, I had some like bendable ones and I found out they were worth money, but I had as a kid, for some stupid reason, cut their fingers off with scissors. So
nice.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump back in the second scene. Ralphie's trying to drop some hints to his parents that he wants this BB gun, but he's trying not to come off too strong. And it's funny because during the scene where he's debating, how do I hint to my parents what I want for Christmas? He's also like in the middle of probably your typical funny family dynamics, right? Like this family, you almost don't know if they like each other. I mean, there are moments in the movie where you think, okay, maybe they do, but there's just some really funny family dynamics going on in this scene. Describe what you see here.
Well, you got to keep in mind, it's 1940-ish when this movie takes place.
Not the 80s.
No, this movie takes place in the 40s.
I couldn't even tell.
So the narrator of this movie, you hear his voice throughout the entire movie. That's actually Gene Shepard. And Gene Shepard is the one who the Christmas Story it's based off of his short stories that he wrote and published in magazines. Playboy magazine was one of the ones that he wrote for. So he'd have all these short stories. So Gene Shepard is narrating this movie, and technically, I guess, like, Ralphie is him as a kid. These are, at least it's supposed to be. But, you know, it's 1940s. You have the dad. I don't know what the dad does for a living, but obviously he works. He comes home. He's had a long day. He's frustrated that the furnace won't work. So he's dad doing the dad thing. He's downstairs yelling swear words at the furnace, which, yeah, I can see that. I don't know. I just see what I guess a typical family dynamic would kind of be like in that time. You know, mom's cooking dinner and dad's ready to eat, but now he can't, and the kids are doing their thing, and the youngest brother won't eat food. I mean, I see that at my dinner table almost every night. So, yeah, I think it's just kind of a typical family.
Man, that makes so much more sense of being in the 40s, because when I watched this, I was like, is this how families were in the 80s?
Well, I was going to ask you about that because first of all, I was going to ask you about that because did you really think that in 83, Drew and I were sitting in front of a big radio listening to Annie?
Well, no, but okay.
Hey, come on, dude. There wasn't a TV in the entire movie.
Yeah, but okay, I didn't notice that.
Ataris.
The thing is, my grandparents still had those old radios.
Yeah, no,
and
I get
my
you.
dad read Little Orphan Annie to me regularly.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that's why, like, because of my past experience, I thought, oh, it's just the 80s. They're reading Little Orphan Annie. Well, that was my childhood.
Oh, that's cool.
But
all right, I'll give you that.
I guess I was just hearing older stories. But see, to look at this family as a World War II generation family makes a lot more sense to me.
Oh, yeah, big time.
In terms of their family dynamics. Because men back then, I think they were less likely to share their feelings. My grandpa barely uttered a word. My dad, he's quiet, but he's a step more expressive. And especially now that I'm older and the grandkids are around, he's much more expressive. But he's still quiet, but not like this dad, right?
Yeah. Well, back then, you know, you don't share your feelings. You know, dad was looked upon with, it was almost like, I mean, even growing up as a kid with, like, my father can be very intimidating. He's like the guy you don't want to cross. You know, that's dad. You know, they always say, wait till dad gets home, or if your dad finds out you were in trouble, and you were in trouble. That's just kind of how it was, I guess, at the time.
Yeah, it is a completely different generation, different times, different way to act. I mean, you know, back at that time, unless you were a teacher or a nurse, if you were a mom, you probably did those two jobs, or you were a stay-at-home mom, like in this case. Yes, there were other jobs out there, but it was a time where all the financial responsibility was mainly on the dad. In a lot of cases, that's, you know, just the way they were. They worked all day. They came home, and it's just like, all right, I need to chill. Give me my food. Give me my paper. And that's the way he is. But I love the way he portrays him, because he is a very angry man. But as the movie goes, and we'll talk about this more, but you can see how much love he does have for his family at the same time.
Yeah, that's a good point, because when I was watching like the first 30 minutes of the movie, I was thinking, this guy, does he not like his family? Like, does he like his wife? And I'm wondering if I'm reading that as like modern times. I'm reading back into, you know, I should be viewing this family as if I'm living in the 1940s, according to how family dynamics were then, not modern family dynamics, right? Because if you want to look at the spiritual themes, if love is one of them, my impression was this guy doesn't really love his family, but that's not necessarily true. Is that correct?
Oh, very correct.
Yeah.
In the 40s, men expressed love a little bit differently than they do now.
Oh, definitely not as open.
100%. Like you said, things have changed a lot. You two would know a little bit more than me when it comes to families and stuff like that and marriage. But yeah, I mean, it was just, I don't want to say assumed, but it was known that we got married. I love you, but I don't have to say it every 10 minutes. I don't have to show up every night with flowers. I don't have to. No, I love you. I work for a living. I take my money, I give it to you so you can help raise our kids. This is my love for you.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because I have had my mom tell me stories about from my grandmother, her mom. And she said, very rarely did I hear my mother say, I love you. And she goes, and I asked her that one day, how come you never say I love you like that? And my grandmother's response to my mom was, I shouldn't have to tell you I love you all the time. You should know that by the way I treat you and the things that I do for you. You should be able to tell by my actions that I love you. I shouldn't have to say it. So it goes exactly. So Doug, you nailed that right on the nail on the head on that one. Yeah, it was just more of action of their actions than it was their words.